player in the history of basketball, in my opinion. She has no skills. She has energy. She has an attitude. She'll rebound you the basketball. Great. Nothing else. She has not, she's got self-awareness. She knows that she's not a very good basketball player. That's why she spends so much time half naked and taking pictures and promoting things that have nothing to do with basketball.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest. We can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero zip, nothing. Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'2"?
I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period.
They called her a fearless rising star, a player whose on-court attitude and off-court persona were destined for iconic status. Yet behind the viral celebrations and bold social media posts, Angel Reese faces a brutal reality check. Her game might not match her hype. Critics say she's overshadowed by rivals like Caitlin Clark, roasted by legends like Lisa Leslie and Shaquille O'Neal, and haunted by dismal shooting percentages that threaten to derail her future. Is Angel Reese on the cusp of a monumental breakout, or is she simply crumbling under the weight of her own ambition? Let's unravel the controversies piling up around one of women's basketball's most polarizing figures. Angel Reese burst onto the scene with the sort of momentum usually reserved for household names. She was everywhere. Viral highlight clips, lively interviews, fierce pre-game rituals on social media. Fans loved her swagger and how she seemed to embody a new generation of bold, unapologetic athletes. With each public appearance, her following ballooned. Big brands came calling, touting her as the player who could usher in a fresh era for women's basketball. What no one initially expected, though, was the gap between her online persona and what the stats actually revealed on the hardwood. Enthusiasm about her potential soared, but the seeds of controversy were quietly sprouting, especially every time she matched up against other star players or encountered rough patches in her own performance. No matter where Angel Reese turned, be it interviews, magazine features, or her very own podcast, one name kept popping up: Caitlin Clark. At first, it seemed like a straightforward media narrative. Two young, extremely talented players representing the future of women's basketball. However, something about their dynamic went beyond the usual rivalry hype. Some fans teased that Reese was borderline obsessed with Clark, mentioning her accomplishments at every turn. Others suspected the media deliberately steered conversations to Clark, knowing it would stir up cliques and drama. Still, the frequency of Clark's name on Reese's show led to jokes online about renaming it The Caitlin Clark Show, hosted by Angel Reese. Despite Reese insisting there's no real beef, the repeated comparisons made it feel like Clark was an invisible co-host, overshadowing Reese's attempts to define her own narrative. Was this a sign of admiration, envy, or a calculated strategy to stay in the spotlight? In a social media era, you never know whether the hype is purely organic or cleverly orchestrated. But the Caitlin Clark chatter was just the tip of the iceberg. Reese soon found herself face-to-face with one of basketball's greatest legends, receiving advice that felt less like gentle guidance and more like a public takedown. Lisa Leslie walked into Angel Reese's podcast studio carrying the weight of her status as one of the most dominant forces in WNBA history. Fans expected a fun conversation about the future of the women's game, maybe some heartwarming stories about how Leslie paved the way for players like Reese. Instead, they witnessed an intensely awkward moment when Leslie addressed Reese's performance, particularly her layups. In an unfiltered moment, Leslie simply stated, "The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period." Ouch. If that wasn't enough, she backed it up with hard statistics, pointing out that Reese hovered around a 39% field goal percentage in her rookie year, and her success rate on shots under 5 feet fell below 50%. For a post player known for living in the paint, missing that many point-blank shots spells trouble. Listeners could sense the tension. Angel Reese visibly tried to maintain composure, but the sting was obvious. Getting a lecture from a legend on your own show is equal parts humiliating and enlightening. This moment signaled a broader truth. Hype doesn't guarantee performance. If Reese wanted to cement her place in the league, she'd need to fix foundational problems, fast. However, Lisa Leslie was only the first wave in a storm of critiques. Another basketball titan soon offered up advice. Though, advice might be too gentle a word for what came next. When Shaquille O'Neal speaks, people listen. Known for his outsized personality and undisputed dominance in the NBA, Shaq is the kind of mentor figure who can inspire or intimidate with a single sentence. Many assumed he'd give Angel Reese a boost of confidence after Leslie's reality check. Instead, he compounded it, and did so in a way that left jaws on the floor. Shaq compared Reese to Antoine Jameson, a solid player with a respectable career, but hardly a name that echoes alongside the greats. For someone like Reese, who's been touted as the future star of women's basketball, that comparison probably felt like a slap in the face. Then Shaq doubled down, bluntly pointing out her reliance on sloppy flip shots and how that undermined her Rookie of the Year ambitions. Some fans called Shaq's approach tough love. Others saw it as outright dismissive. Either way, it highlighted a major discrepancy in Reese's game. She's nowhere near the unstoppable force she imagines herself to be. In a single conversation, Shaq struck a nerve that almost every other critic had poked at. Her fundamentals just aren't where they need to be. But the hits didn't end with Shaq's fatherly wisdom. The data behind Angel Reese's shooting struggles came back to haunt her in a very public way, fueling skeptics and detractors to unleash an even bigger wave of backlash. Talk to any dedicated basketball fan, and they'll tell you, numbers never lie. Angel Reese's biggest problem might be that they can't stop talking. Her shooting percentage at the rim, arguably the most critical zone for a forward, was painfully low. Online critics tore her apart for missing too many easy baskets. Fans on social media posted clip after clip of potential layups that somehow failed to convert, each one accompanied by mocking captions or sarcastic memes. Even ex-teammates or acquaintances seemed to join the chorus of critiques. Thinly veiled tweets and cryptic Instagram comments drew lines straight back to Reese's poor finishing skills. One particular post compared her shot charts to a burnt toast breakfast. Harsh, yes, but these digital callouts quickly gained traction. All of this fueled the perception that Reese might be more of a talker than a performer, a showy athlete whose social media game surpasses her shooting percentage. The wave of negativity even bled into the Chicago Sky's locker room atmosphere, amplifying internal frustrations and tension. Yet numbers don't always tell the complete story. Angel Reese remained adamant she could hit those shots, claiming she just needed the right mindset. Was that denial or genuine self-belief? Whichever it was, she was about to find out that low field goal percentages were the least of her worries when it came to capturing and keeping an audience. In the midst of Reese's personal struggles, the Chicago Sky were also navigating one of their toughest stretches. Fans expected a boost when the franchise secured Angel Reese. They believed her confidence and social media clout could translate into ticket sales, national exposure, and improved team chemistry. But a team can't thrive solely on hype. Soon, whispers of locker room tension bubbled up, hinting that Reese's outsized persona might not mesh with established veterans. When losses piled up, so did the blame game. Some pointed fingers at Reese for being more concerned with her public image than consistent on-court improvement. Rumors swirled that certain players felt overshadowed by Reese's high profile, questioning whether she was truly dedicated to the grind. The once promising narrative of Reese as a key Chicago Sky attraction started to crumble. Her social media following and star power didn't translate to the winning record everyone hoped for. As fans demanded explanations, the conversation shifted toward her role in the new 3-on-3 league. an experiment many believed would highlight her best qualities. They were in for a rude awakening. The much-hyped 3-on-3 league called Unrivaled aimed to capitalize on fast-paced play, featuring rising names like Angel Reese to reel in viewers. On paper, it seemed like a perfect match, a dynamic athlete with a knack for theatrics in a shorter, highlight-friendly format. Executives envisioned a rating bonanza, especially among younger audiences. Reality turned out to be grim. Early reports put Unrivaled viewership at a meager 100,000 per game. That's alarmingly low for a venture banking on the star power of Angel Reese. Fans criticized the league's overall execution, but singled out Reese's underwhelming performances. It's tough to sell yourself as a main event when your finishing at the rim is still a glaring weakness. Critics wasted no time pointing out the elephant in the room. If Caitlin Clark had been part of Unrivaled, would the ratings look different? Was Reese's star draw overestimated, overshadowed again by the specter of Clark's popularity? Meanwhile, online commentary hammered the notion that Reese's brand of flashy, boastful basketball doesn't captivate fans enough to overlook repeated missed shots. As the ratings disaster unfolded, Reese found herself in a precarious position. Her brand thrived on an image of unstoppable confidence, but cracks in that facade were becoming impossible to ignore. With each missed layup, the storyline evolved from Angel Reese, future icon, to Angel Reese, overhyped and under-delivering. All the controversies, Leslie's direct criticism, Shaq's unconventional tough love, fan mockery, and disastrous ratings feel like different puzzle pieces forming a daunting picture. The question is, does Angel Reese have the grit to transform this negative press into fuel? Some athletes thrive when cornered, using skepticism as motivation to refine their craft and come back stronger. Others let the noise derail their progress completely. Hints of self-awareness have flickered in recent podcasts. Reese admitted her shooting slump and promised a revamped approach to the game. Whether this is genuine humility or another bid to reset the narrative remains to be seen. If she takes Lisa Leslie's advice to heart, invests in a refined layup technique, and listens to Shaq's suggestions, minus the bruising comparisons, she might still cement a significant legacy in women's basketball. However, if the negative headlines and social media vitriol continue, Reese risks falling into a cycle of hype over substance, a cautionary tale for players who lean too heavily on branding while neglecting their fundamentals. With so many eyes on her, one thing is certain: every missed layup and every new controversy will be magnified tenfold. Angel Reese's journey is a reminder that success in professional sports demands more than confidence and viral moments. Hard work, adaptability, and humility matter just as much as showmanship. She's at a crossroads, staring down crucial questions about her technique, her priorities, and her ability to reinvent herself under relentless scrutiny. Will the harsh critiques from legends like Lisa Leslie and Shaquille O'Neal spur her on to greatness, or become the soundtrack to a promising career fizzling out? In the end, Angel Reese alone will decide which storyline gets the final word. If she embraces the brutal honesty, fixes her core weaknesses, and harnesses her unstoppable attitude for tangible improvement, she might still become the superstar everyone once believed she could be. And if not, we'll likely remember her more for epic social media battles and missed layups than a trailblazing impact on the court. Only time will tell which direction her story takes next, and the basketball world will be watching.